The wind outside the small Pennsylvania home carried the kind of stillness that only comes before something terrible happens. A dog barked somewhere down the street, the echo fading into the cold February air. Inside the house, the glow of a computer screen flickered across the walls, blue, pale, ghost-like. It lit up the face of a man sitting at his desk, staring into the light as though the screen could explain the chaos that had grown inside his mind. His name was Justin Mohn 33 years old, and for months, maybe years, he had been slipping. To neighbors, he was quiet, polite, a little distant, the kind of man who didn't cause trouble but never quite fit in either. He lived with his father, a retired man who believed in patience and faith, who believed his son could still find his way back. But behind closed doors, their world had begun to fracture. Justin had grown distrustful, angry, and consumed by thoughts of betrayal and conspiracy. He spent hours online, falling deeper into dark theories, recording videos filled with strange monologues about corruption and control. The internet had become his echo chamber, a place where his fears were fed, reflected back to him until they became truth. He stopped listening to anyone outside that digital world, including his father. The tension in that small house built slowly. There were arguments, quiet at first, then louder. His father urged him to get help, to talk to someone. Justin refused. He didn't need help, he said. He needed people to see the truth. And then came that night. It was late, the kitchen light dim and yellow. The father sat at the table, waiting for his son to calm down, but something in Justin's eyes had changed, a vacancy that no longer recognized family, love, or even the line between right and wrong. What happened next was unspeakable. The moment shattered whatever remained of their lives. It was violence in its rawest, most horrifying form, cold, deliberate, and irreversible. By morning, Justin Mohn would do something even more unimaginable. He turned on his camera, positioned it carefully, and recorded what he had done. With a voice eerily steady, he spoke directly into the lens, not with sorrow or confusion, but with conviction. He said he was exposing the system, that this was a message, but his words were tangled in madness, his logic twisted beyond reason. Within hours, the video appeared on YouTube. It was short, shocking, and impossible to forget. Those who stumbled upon it, journalists, moderators, random viewers, didn't know if it was real at first. But as the footage spread, reality sank in. It was real. Every frame, every word. Police were called. The platform scrambled to remove the video, but copies had already been shared across forums and dark corners of the web. It was too late. The horror had gone viral. People debated how something so grotesque could be uploaded at all, how a moment of unimaginable violence could become content. But in the chaos of the internet, shock travels faster than decency, and before the authorities arrived, the damage was already done. When officers entered the Mohn residence, they found the evidence of what had happened. The scene was beyond comprehension, a father's body, a son's madness, and a camera that had captured it all. Justin was arrested not long after, showing little resistance. He didn't seem afraid or even remorseful. To him, it was all part of a revelation. News of the crime broke across the country like a storm. Headlines called it one of the most disturbing acts ever linked to social media. People were horrified, not just by what Justin had done, but by the fact that he had chosen to broadcast it. Commentators debated endlessly. Was this evil, or was this illness? Could it have been prevented? Was this the fault of a broken mind, or a broken world? Friends and relatives of the father described him as kind, patient, a man who had tried everything to reach his son. He had prayed for him, defended him, refused to give up even when others warned him that Justin was dangerous. He just wanted to help, one neighbor said, her voice trembling. He loved his boy. He thought love could fix it, but love wasn't enough. The courtroom was silent the day Justin appeared. Shackled, wearing a plain jumpsuit, his hair unkempt, he looked more like a shadow than a man. When asked if he understood the charges, he nodded. His eyes didn't lift from the floor. There was no outburst, no apology, only a hollow calm. When the evidence was read aloud, the gallery wept. Some left the room. The judge's voice cracked as he read the sentence. Yet the real weight of the story lived far beyond the trial. Mental health professionals spoke about untreated psychosis, about the signs that had gone unnoticed. Others condemned the systems that had failed to intervene, the lack of access to care, the stigma that keeps families silent. Online, the debate raged between outrage and curiosity. The video became a macabre symbol of how desensitized the world has become to violence. People whispered about what it meant, not just one man's descent, but something collective. How easy it is for anger to find a stage, how quickly empathy disappears when tragedy becomes spectacle. How the internet, once meant to connect us, can sometimes amplify the very isolation that drives people to madness. For those who lived in that Pennsylvania neighborhood, the image of that house will never fade. The police tape stayed up for weeks. Reporters stood on the sidewalk, speaking in hushed tones as neighbors watched from behind curtains. When the tape finally came down, the house was quiet again, but the silence felt heavier, like the air itself remembered what had happened there. Justin's story is not just about murder. It is about warning signs, the ones people miss, the ones people ignore, the ones that get buried under shame and denial. It is about a man who became consumed by fear and anger until there was no room left for love. And it's about a father who stayed, who tried, and who paid with his life. Somewhere in the thousands of pages of reports, the hours of footage, and the endless commentary online, there remains one haunting truth. This could have been prevented. There were chances, moments where a voice, a hand, a plan could have pulled him back from the edge. But no one did. Today, the internet has moved on to new stories, new outrage, new horrors. But for those who saw that video or who knew the Mohn family, the memory never leaves. It lingers in the mind like a scar, the image of a man lost in his own delusions, the echo of a father's last plea, and the chilling proof of how far madness can go when it finds a lens to speak through. The story of Justin Mohn is not just a crime story. It's a mirror reflecting the cracks in our society, the fragility of our humanity, and the cost of ignoring the quiet cries for help. It forces us to ask questions that are hard to face. How did no one stop him? How do we protect those who need help from themselves and from a world that looks away until it is too late? In the end, all that's left is silence, the silence of a home once filled with love, now forever marked by horror. The silence of a father's absence, and the silence of a son whose madness became his message. It is the kind of silence that no one forgets, even after the headlines fade and the world scrolls on.